you're always only doing one of two things. You're either living your life or you're thinking about living your life. And you can't do both at the same time. So when I'm spending time with my wife and I'm gazing into her eyes and I lean forward and we share a kiss, at that very moment, I can either kiss my wife and enjoy it, or I can analyze the kiss, in which case I won't enjoy it at all. I'm either thinking about life or I'm doing life. I can't do both at the same time. Now, we all know the Bible shows us in very clear terms how to live our lives, but the Bible also shows us very clearly how to reflect upon our lives. I call this personal reflection on our own lives personal exegesis. And personal exegesis begins the moment we press pause on doing in order to engage in reflecting. There are essentially two kinds of scenes in any story, and the same will prove true of us. So the first kind of scene is an action scene where the character does something, right? They set out to accomplish a goal, they experience conflict or setbacks, and something changes, either a success or a failure in relation to that goal. The following scene in any kind of story is a reflective scene. The job of the reflection scene is to say, now what? To press pause as long as they're able, depending on what kind of action they're engaged in, to reflect on what just happened, where does that leave me, and what do I do next? In other words, we reflect on how we're feeling, how we're doing. We take stock of our resources, and then we set a new goal. Now, that new goal will become the focal point of the next action scene where we go launching into the goal, face the setbacks and the conflict, and then something changes again. Now, personal exegesis helps us do the reflection scenes and to do them well because we're taking our actions and we're reflecting on what we've done, how it went, how we're doing, what our heart condition is like, whether we sinned or whether we blew it or whatever we did. And we're doing this all with Jesus. Jesus pulled the disciples aside to do this very thing, right? They would have some encounter with the Pharisees and the disciples would ask a question like, hey, what was up with that? And Jesus would explain it, or something bad would happen, or Jesus would pull them aside and go, this is what you need to know. He would do a debrief with them on the last action scene. They would have a reflective moment. He was teaching them how to do personal exegesis.